Good afternoon, YouTube. Today's video, I want to acknowledge that one of the children who was gravely injured and in intensive care has died from his injuries. An 8-year-old boy by the name of Jackson Sparks passed away today. If you're paying attention to this case, you'll know that Daryl E. Brooks was in court for the first time today, and they laid out his extensive criminal history, and I have to say that with confidence that this man, I really hope he's brought to justice for killing all these people and injuring so many more. The new count of injured victims is 62, no longer 40, including a priest and several children, of course, elderly people. A crime like this could have been prevented if the courts had, number one, not placed such a low amount of money to bail out Daryl E. Brooks. The first misdemeanor, I think it was, is $500. The second one was $1,000. If that man had not been let out into the street, and because he was required to serve jail time, and he would often flee from the courts, and he would essentially ignore a judge's order and times to appear in court. And when he would appear in court, then he would lie to the court about serving time somewhere else to escape serving time in that particular instance, as I understand it when I listened to the court outlining his previous charges. When I look at a festival, well, a parade such as this, to me it represents the joy of Christian people to gather in peace in a space and celebrate that fundamental, beautiful holiday of Christmas. And it is a fundamental, beautiful part of our history and our culture. And a lot of the victims, well, I shouldn't say a lot of the victims, but some of the victims were these dancing grannies that appear every year in the parade. And they're such lovely people. I can see that. I can see that their sole desire is to perform to get smiles from the crowd. And I've been in similar troops myself. My grandma has been in similar dancing troops in our culture, and they adore the chance to perform, and they perform very well. When an unstable guy like this is allowed to be free in the public, it shows to me the incompetence of the criminal justice system and its mercy and its over leniency, because it's contingent upon this unstable person complying with a court order. But men like him don't have any respect for the rule of law, for the dignity of human beings, for the beauty, the dignity of life. They have no regard for it. They have zero remorse for killing people like them, people like him. It doesn't matter to Daryl E. Brooks that a young boy died, at least from his actions. I don't care what his words say. I don't give a damn about this guy's testimony. Everything out of his mouth will be a lie. I guarantee it. And I know that if they put him on the stand, he will probably lie about everything. The fact that this boy and his brother, according to what I've read, both him and his brother were injured in the attack. Um, his injuries are very grave. I have no idea about his brother, but the family, when I read the article, is praying for a miracle. That was 8 hours ago. And now their young son has died. And the other brother is, I think, 12 years old, and he's a little bit. We don't know his condition. I don't know if he's the other child in intensive care or if he'll make a full recovery, but his brother is gone. And if I always try to put myself in the minds of these victims, or rather the victim's family, if that was my son, uh, I couldn't imagine the amount of anger and rage I would be feeling toward this guy. And I would want to see him brought to justice for the death of my son. And I don't know how many of you are aware of it, but a lot of the victims of this, I will call it a massacre now, were children and elderly people. I believe there was also one priest there who also was one of the injured. But when you look at what the parade represents, they represent the peacefulness and the sense of community gathering that is essential to Christian culture, Catholic culture. And when a guy like this comes in to destroy that, not only does he ruin it because you have to look at it psychologically. The people who were in attendance at that parade will never feel really safe attending that parade again. And they may put security around it, but there's a sense of the attack will never be far from their minds. It will permanently scar the memory of these people that were in attendance at the parade, and they will never be able to celebrate with the same joy, the same full spirit that they did before. They will always have that the beauty of this event will be scarred forever. And that's the point. I don't know if this was a premeditated attack, but I do know that this guy, according to an article by Heavy, was supporting Black Lives Matter, was supporting defund the police, and a chaotic narrative surrounding that person, perhaps because he is mentally unbalanced. But at the same time, he has a very callous understanding of the dignity of human beings. And he is very much detached from the suffering of human beings, I might say. Because it means nothing to him when I look at this picture of his SUV and the testimony of the cops and whatnot that we have heard from multiple witnesses and from the law enforcement. The vehicle kept going. He crashed into all those people and kept going. This guy will have his day in court, even though I think it is unjust to because for me it's beyond a shadow of a doubt that he intended to kill those people, and he did so without remorse, without restraint. So many cops I heard later that tried to disable the vehicle, but they were afraid to fire into the crowd. But I do still maintain that the police did a poor job of preventing the crisis in the first place, because they should have tried to disable the vehicle at the tail end of the parade where it entered. But again, I look at this as an attack on Christian culture and the peaceful community gathering of people that they all they want is to forget how much COVID has taken away from us. The vaccine mandate, the lack of freedom and ease of which that we lived our lives before COVID hit us. and now we have gone into a completely different world, a completely different reality. And the parade represents something like the normal way that we used to be. And to celebrate like they are there, gathering with all their families, and to enjoy the spectacles of the parade. Why is it that I'm beginning to notice a pattern, a trend? Whenever Christians gather or wherever there's a church, churches seem to be attacked. Christian people are attacked in the street. Whenever a culture comes forward that's Christian, that culture seems to suffer a great deal of tragedy, of loss. Here in this country, in Canada, an Islamic family was hit by a car by another unstable personality. Trudeau called that guy an Islamophobic and declared a national emergency and declared that occasion a terrorist attack. So where's the justice for these people? I asked a question. Like when I saw that it is a Christmas parade, of course that's a very big public event, but the people attending are mostly going to be Christian people. Maybe some people on the street, but mostly Christian people, mostly Catholic people. And you have to say that even we don't know the motives of this guy, based on how he acted and what we know, he chose it very deliberately as a public event. And he crashed into an area a crowd was gathering to get as many victims as he possibly could kill with his SUV at that moment. So to me, that's not even in question. All you have to do is look at the videos and look at the evidence, and you can see that was his intention all along. I don't care what he's going to say as personally. That's irrelevant. But I keep looking at. I look maybe a little bit more beyond than just somebody hitting these people with his vehicle. I say it is a targeted attack on peaceful people, on the most. You could say that they're absolutely pacifist in the way that they conduct their behavior. Nothing more. They're such vulnerable and helpless in that moment. There's nothing more to be said about it. This animal has no regard for. If anything, he wants to kill more people. That's how I look at him. Everywhere you put him will be a threat and a danger to the ones around him. Do you understand what I'm saying? Murderers have that kind of tendency. It's like one life is not enough. They get bored, or perhaps they feel an itch, like in their hands. They want to kill again. They want to kill more and amplify what they're doing. And when I look at this guy's rap sheet, that's exactly what I see. He has so many instances of domestic violence, of threatening to kill his spouse or his girlfriend, running her over with a car. That was one that he recently did. Threatening to kill his nephew, actually discharging a firearm in a vehicle that his nephew and a friend were occupying, and shooting them. Blatantly disregarding human life. He's not even able to look after his own family. He has so many outstanding child support payments going back, I think, to 2003. Here's a person whose life has no control, no desire to better himself. Nothing. Everywhere he goes, there's a path of destruction in his wake. So you can predict this unstable behavior to culminate to a point of extreme violence and murder. So I hope many of you are with me in this sentiment. I hope he's brought to justice on all 6 accounts of homicide now. and that he will never again see the light of day. Like, put him in prison in a hole so deep that I would say inhumane standards would be excellent, because he's just not worthy of humanity. He's not. And I'm sure that the courts will rule against him. So thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe to my channel, and comment below. I look forward to reading your comments and starting a dialogue with you. So thank you so much for watching.